morning. Going to be working on building a game that we're starting without any actual previously built codes. This is our first dive into an actual game. And the game we've decided to build is Pong. And there's a couple, well, actually, there's like 5 million ways to build Pong. But what I want you to do first is to go to the Pong design brief and go ahead and open up the Google Sheet. And this is what it looks like. So a design brief gives you all the information you need to be able to do the project. So for example, let's see, this is in one font. So let me go see if I can find that font again. It's Gloria something. There it goes. So the client or end user. So who is hiring you to make the design? Who are you designing the product for? And who will use this product? So first off, I am hiring you to design the product. The end user is going to be very young children learning to control a mouse or a trackpad on a computer. So that's your goal, is you're teaching them how to control their mouse or their trackpad. So we're going to go ahead here and we'll move that in. So describe the problem that you will be solving with your design. And I've already given you this information, hopefully to make it a little easier. Very young children often have a really hard time controlling their mouse or trackpad. We need a game to help them with these simple motions. So then we come down here to criteria and constraints. And the criterion constraints are the must-haves, what has to be there and what are the limits of the design. So it can't be this or it must be that kind of thing. So we'll center that. So it must have 2 paddles and 1 ball. 1 paddle is controlled by the user and the other by the computer. If the ball gets past the user's paddle, then the computer gets a point. If the ball gets past the computer's paddle, the user gets the point. The game should be played to 10. Users should be able to see the scores, and users should be able to reset the game and play again. Now, you are going to create a design statement. Your design statement is a simple statement of what you will create for the player. And you're not, or for the client, you're not going to restate everything from the criterion constraints. Instead, what you're going to do is make a simple statement about what you will provide. So I will make a simple 1-player game with 2 paddles, a ball, 2 paddles and a ball. We'll just say and a ball. Players will win when they get to 10. Game will be able to be reset. So basically you are writing a contract. This is what I agreed to make, okay, with these criterion constraints. So you're not just going to put my design statement is to make a game, because that doesn't include any of the details that your client asked for. So you're going to make a design statement for yours explaining what you are going to create. Then for deliverables, what things must be given to the client upon completion of the project. And you're going to say, oh, well, that's obvious. They get the game. Well, sometimes they get more than that. So finished and playable game, correctly completed design brief, a completed design plan, and a completed task list. Those are your deliverables. Those are almost always set by the client. And so I, as the client, am demanding, not only do I want the game, I want the paperwork that goes with the game. So I know how you designed it, how you developed it, and in what order you did things. So there's your design brief. Then today you're also going to be working on the design plan. So you're going to come over here, use templates to help you draw what each screen will look like. So you can print these out and draw on them by hand if you wish. You could also create a Google drawing, but honestly, it'll be much easier, and I will have paper copies for you to print these out, take a photo, and then put the photo in here instead of these blank ones so that you actually have a picture of what your design plan is. And it may be, okay, great, so I'm going to draw the basic layout, and then I'm going to add, okay, well, great. If they get to 10, maybe they go to another screen. So I use this to display another screen or something like that. If you are like, nope, I only need the one screen, great. So draw on one of the 4 screens that's on the printout and take a photo of just that one screen if you're pretty sure that's all you need. Keep in mind your photo should, or your design plan should have everything labeled. So you should have paddles, you should have a ball, you should have an area where they're going to score. So there should be a scoring area designed off. And when the ball hits the bottom, what should it do? Well, usually we make them bounce. It should bounce off the paddles, it should bounce off the edges, and it should also bounce off this edge even though it does at a point. So you're getting the idea. There's actually more to this than you think. And having the scores show up at the top would be nice. So you're going to draw that out and insert your picture for your design plan. Then you have your task list. You're going to list all of the tasks required to do this job in order. So first thing is you are going to have 3 sprites to begin with, 2 paddles and a ball, right? So you might start with your first task here being add 2 paddles and a ball sprite to the stage. And at this point, you haven't said anything about backgrounds, so leave it out because you're just trying to get it working to begin with. And then you say, okay, great. First thing that has to happen is I need to start. Oops, helps if I have the right font. It all looks the same that way. So we're going to say, oops, start the game with a, I don't know, a space bar. So you have to have a space bar, start the game. The ball starts to move toward the player paddle. Whatever you're going to do. Then your next step. Okay, well, now that you've got that working, and that kind of went off the side, so I'm going to come over here and text wrap, change that around. So once you get get it to move towards the paddle, then I want it to bounce off the paddle. So make, in this case, again, make the ball bounce off the paddles. Okay, there's the next step. And notice I'm not adding a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to put every single step into one line. Each step kind of gets its own line for a reason, and that's because it gets much easier to go through your list if there's fewer things on it. Or the list can be long, but each thing is only one thing. Just get the ball to bounce off the paddles. Great. Then make the ball bounce off the walls. So you're getting the idea. And so then once you get the paddles working, then you can make it bounce off the walls. And then you're going to say, okay, great. Now I want it to score points. So and so that might be my next step. I want it to change a score. Okay, so this is your task list to get this all sorted. So you've got your design brief over here, which we just did together. You're going to do your design plan, you're going to draw it out, and then you're going to create a task list. All of this must be done before you get to touch the actual code.